It seems like there's a lot in here. And actually, I don't know what it is. I think this is raw beef.
It's good to go.
If I ask you to picture Vietnamese food, there's a good chance you'd conjure images of pho. Japanese food, maybe sushi or sashimi. But what about Hmong food? The Hmong people are spread throughout southern China, Vietnam, Laos, and here in the USA.
I'm curious, when you first moved to the USA, were you able to get ingredients like fish sauce or even just a hot chili?
These people without a nation have their own culture, language, and food.
Oh, this looks great.
Food you've never seen before until today.
What do you do at this point usually?
Yeah.
You just slurp it in?
Yeah, you do whatever you need to do. You know?
Residing in the highlands of Asia appears a vibrant image of life. Nature, animals, tribal men and women in their traditional clothes. This is where the Hmong people call home in most of Southeast Asia. This is also a Hmong home, halfway around the world. There are no buffalo in the backyard. More modern, more convenient. Their clothes don't associate them with any tribe, but there is one thing that never changes: the food.
I drink a lot of beer, watch a lot of TV.
Hi there.
Meet our hosts, VANG and his mother, Bang. Right now, they're making GALABAO, a savory, heartwarming steamed bun.
This is her own recipe. So she wants to say this is a very exclusive IP.
Right.
The dough is made with wheat flour, yeast, baking powder, oil, and sweetened condensed milk. This will produce a fluffy outer skin soon. Next, the filling, a stir-fried mixture of pork and chicken. Add in salt, shredded cabbage, oyster sauce, onion, scallion, vermicelli glass noodles, and pork bouillon. Once that's mixed, it's time to bring it all together.
When you're rolling it, you actually just roll the edges out, let it have a little girth, and then you put the filling in. A lot of Southeast Asian cultures, you always add an egg in there because it gives it a little bit more depth, but it also kind of plumps up everything.
Okay, this is the hardest part right here. I feel like I could have done everything up to this point.
Yep, it's all about these pleats. If you don't do the pleats right, then when you're steaming it, the whole thing breaks up.
It's like a ventilation system.
Absolutely, and then it gives it a little look to it, yeah? But I always like, twist a little nipple on top.
Okay.
That's basically it.
You may be wondering if these are the same as Chinese steamed buns. We'll get to that soon.
So I want to back up a little bit.
Yeah.
Both your parents are from Laos originally.
Yep, the hills of Laos. But my parents, they met in '78 in Thailand, and they got married, and then I was born in Thailand in '84.
84?
Are we the same age?
Yeah.
Dude, what am I doing in my
You have
life?
a great beard.
No, stop.
No, come on.
You're like traveling the world, man. What am I doing in my life?
With a piece in my hand.
Vang is a first-generation Hmong American. He's a chef and founder of Union Hmong Kitchen, a pop-up restaurant experience that introduces Hmong flavors to American palates.
You look at the word Hmong, it translates to the word free, or people of the free. So for something to be Hmong is for Hmong people to make it.
What kind of Hmong food does she think you're really good at cooking?
Mắm lỗ cho cay chiên.
Kind of like the grilled pork and sticky rice. But it's like, that's pretty basic though. It's like, you can't mess that up.
Okay.
You know, so.
With 15 years of experience in the restaurant industry and his whole life dedicated to Hmong food, today he's taking us on a journey, seeking an answer to the question, what is Hmong food? Starting with this.
Oh, they're gorgeous. I love the homemade feeling. It's like they don't have that factory uniformity to it. You see like each one's unique.
Just like how we're all made.
Yeah. Oh, this looks awesome.
You start from the center because that's where all the meats are.
That's good. This texture is the best texture I've ever had in a steamed bun. Yeah, it just has a great texture to chew on. It's so soft. Can you try some of that?
Yeah.
Let me try some of this hot sauce.
Mom always says Hmong food is about balance. So something's never really too hot, too sweet, too savory.
Absolutely. Even the meat's a little bit heavy, but the bun's a little bit more sweet and light. Oh, that's so nice.
Mấy khẩu có sốt here.
She'll give you something to take home too.
Yes, thank you. I'm so fascinated by your food here. I'm curious, were you able to get ingredients? Because I've lived in Asia for so long now, I went to the local like big grocery store and I couldn't find any of the stuff that I might cook with now, like fish sauce or even just hot chilies, I couldn't find that. So how hard was it to find food when you first came here?
For
thousands of years, the Hmong mainly inhabited parts of southern China. But when conflict arose during the Qing dynasty, they were forced out, retreating to the highlands of China, Vietnam, and Laos, where most people would starve. They flourished, learning new ways to work with the land, adapting their culinary traditions, ingredients, and cooking techniques. This may be why Pang's version of a steamed bun looks similar to the Chinese steamed bun.
When they first came to America here, you would just go to a regular grocery store and whatever American product they had, she said that we just had to take it and figure out how to use it. And she said at first they didn't like the taste, didn't like the flavor, but they just worked with it. And then eventually they started gardening and growing their own produce.
How would you get seeds though? I mean, if they didn't have that produce here.
From Laos and Thailand. They would either bring it with them or they would have families ship it over.
That's great.
And this is so interesting to me of the Hmong philosophy is that first year of the crop, majority of it is you're growing it for seed. You're not actually growing for consumption. And that's so cultivated into our cultural DNA.
Right, because that takes a lot of foresight.
Absolutely, but then it's more like one generation has to sacrifice itself so the next could grow. And that's like the essence of what being Hmong means to me.
Today, the Hmong migration to Minnesota has enriched the state's culinary palate with a variety of unique produce, herbs, and vegetables you can't find at a Whole Foods.
Was that like a little pumpkin?
No, the best translation is like bitter melon balls. So
That was my nickname in high school. Hey.
HMONGTOWN Marketplace is the beating heart of the Hmong community in the Twin Cities. It's open 12 hours a day, every day, and it houses over 200 business vendors who are meeting the unique needs of Hmong folks and whoever else wants to wander in. Food, clothes, produce, you name it, they've got it.
in Hmong food, one of the big flavors is bitter. So what I like doing is I actually like fire roasting it off and then almost make like a baba ganoush out of it. One of the things I love is the Hmong mustard greens.
Oh, so that's mustard greens.
It's like a cross between arugula and spinach. There's many ways to do it. You can boil it, stir fry it, and you can ferment it. This is my jam right here. Because I think one of the great things about Hmong food is the fresh herbaceousness of it. So when we're making dishes, it's like I love to have a lot of herbs like cilantro, Thai basil, mint, dill.
Yeah, I went to Byerly's and they're trying to sell like 5 pieces of basil for $5. I was like, what is this for? Half a mojito? Wait, do you put basil in a mojito?
Yep.
So this is HMONGTOWN.
Yep.
Do you know how long this has been around?
It's been here for decades. Some of the first Hmong immigrants came here in '75, and they didn't have their own grocery stores of foods that they were familiar with. So it began when Tu, who's the owner here, he decided to say, hey, what if we gather some of these farmers? What if I gather some of these vendors? And we brought them together, and we could start for our own community. But what it's done is now it's open to anybody to come. We have like white local chefs that will come here and grab a lot of this produce too.
So this is the outside. This is all stuff that's grown locally. But inside, they're cooking Hmong food that can just be eaten right now. I'm hungry.
Yeah.
I want some food. Let's go inside.
Yeah, cool.
Actually, I'm looking at this. I had something very similar in Cambodia called amo.
Probably the same concept.
Same concept.
Yep.
What are we looking at here?
Mokpa is a popular Laotian steamed fish dish made with white fish and an abundance of aromatic herbs, lemongrass, cilantro, kaffir lime leaves, ginger, shallots, spring onions, and garlic. Seasoned with pork bouillon, MSG, rice powder, and fish sauce. The mixture is portioned out and wrapped in parcels made from fresh banana leaves before being steamed to perfection. The modern version includes a bit of plastic wrap to more effectively prevent leakage.
Show me how to undress this lady. Ooh, the steam is pouring out of here. That looks amazing.
I mean, you can just smell it. You smell all those herbs. Yeah, dude.
That's great.
If they really love you, what they do is they fillet it so that you don't have to worry too much about bones.
Too much.
Yeah.
But there could still be
There'll
bones.
be a little bone. Remember when I talk about bitterness? There's a little bitterness to it.
Yeah, now where's that coming from?
Some of the herbs that are in there have a little hint of bitterness to it.
Right, there's a dynamic flavor coming from the herbs where some of them are fresh and some of them are a bit more bitter. It's interesting, I could see people from Minnesota, they don't like stuff that's gelatinous and gooey, but this is right on the edge of being like flaky and gooey together. What's this dish called?
So it's called kapong. It's a rice noodle dish with a really rich coconut curry broth.
A dish originating in Laos, prepared with a broth made of bamboo shoots, ground chicken, coconut, galangal, lemongrass, and red curry paste, consisting of red chili, garlic, sea salt, lemongrass, turmeric, and shrimp paste. That is a lot of flavor. On top of rice noodles, add fried pork, bamboo shoots, ground chicken, and the broth. Then shredded veggies and herbs. Finish with a lime.
The most important thing is squeezing that lime because that acid really cuts through the fattiness.
I don't want to mess it up.
No,
You
go
trust me?
ahead.
You said it was important.
You're a man who's traveled around the world.
Boom. Oh, this looks great.
Yeah.
It is just so vibrant too. I've got some pork here, some noodles, some veggies. I'm ready for a big bite. You're right. Everything I've tried so far has been this balance between sweet, spicy, savory, and then
Bitter.
sometimes there's a little base of bitterness in the background. Milky, creamy broth. I'm wondering, friends you had who are not Hmong, when you introduce them to food like this, what kind of reactions are you getting?
If this is their first exploration of Hmong food, this is not where I start them.
Oh, you got to put training wheels on this, right?
You do, you have to. Because if you put them right here, this is all they think about. Texturally, it'd be kind of, out there.
Yeah,
Here.
I had Hmong food once. It was just like a big gooey fish.
I always usually start out with like the pork, sticky rice. It's just something that's very transferable, right?
Right.
And then eventually, as they want to venture in deeper, you can get to this aspect of the food.
That's so smart. It's amazing to me. So many people write me and they say, oh, I wish I could go to far off places and try the foods that you try. And I think there's a lot of people around here who don't realize this is in their own backyard. You could drive 10 minutes from your apartment in Minneapolis and come to a different world.
What's better? A wide range of freshly made dishes ready to explore. From newbie level food like this, you can work your way up to something like this.
I'm cutting it all the way through on each side.
Raw beef salad here at Joey's Kitchen.
I wanted to stop it small so it's easier to chew. Some people doesn't, have teeth.
This dish is called lab, a sort of salad made from finely chopped raw beef, mixed with poached beef tripe, lemongrass, red chilies, toasted rice powder, and a lot of aromatic herbs like Thai basil, mint, and cilantro.
Make sure it goes thoroughly.
Plate, garnish with even more red chilies, and that's still not it. Put this on top of an assortment of purple sticky rice, grilled pork ribs, and Hmong pork sausage. What's even more remarkable is the man sitting across from me, the founder of this HMONGTOWN, Mr. Dua Shong.
And there it is. It seems like there's a lot in here. Where should we start?
Grab the sticky rice. Use your finger.
Oh, we're just going straight into the raw beef. I thought we would start with like a sausage. So the finger here, scoop it up.
Yep, go ahead.
There we go.
It's almost like a little taco, almost,
Yeah, go ahead.
It's exactly like a little taco.
Yeah.
That's a good sell. As soon as I took a bite, I was like, I know what's missing. Rice wine. Yeah. The beef part is kind of cold. You can feel the raw fat and oiliness of the beef, but then you get some herbs, you get a hit of the chilies, and it kind of goes down nice.
If it's not spicy enough, then make sure you take some of those.
Oh yeah, I learned that from another Hmong family.
Oh man, dude. It's not about on the way in, it's about on the way out. That's the problem,
I'll have a mudslide later tonight. I mean, the drink. Ribs.
Rib.
Whoa.
It's long roasted. Look at that, falls apart.
Oh, that's so good. Soft, tender, fatty.
And here is the belly.
So this is like the chicharron, yep. That skin, they roast it like popcorn on top.
I really have some important in-depth questions, but it can wait. Now, I want to talk about how this place came to be.
In 2004, I came to this thing really fresh. A younger boy just had big dreams of building a Hmong town for the Hmong people because we moved too much.
During the Vietnam War, Hmong villagers worked with the American CIA on the Secret War in Laos. After the USA pulled out, thousands of Hmong were targeted and forced to flee their homeland.
As soon as CIA withdrew from South Vietnam, they withdrew from Laos. And my dad took me to the jungle. I was only 7. So I've been eating birds, snakes, mouse, and some cut the meat from the deer, and they mix it into log in the jungle for 4 years.
A fortunate few survived the miserable journey to VINAI, a refugee camp on the Laos-Thailand border, including YIA'S family and Dua's family.
How did you know that that was a place of refuge?
You don't. All you care is you just need to get to Thailand. And my father used to serve the CIA, so he knows how to read
the compass. Yeah, my dad too. My dad
the
fought in the war.
Yeah. Just the east, east, and keep on going.
The Hmong were political refugees legally admitted to the United States. They resettled with the help of several church organizations. Today, there are 200,000 Hmong who call the USA home.
When we first got here, we have to learn A, B, C, D, and E. We have to learn the system, learn how to ride a bus, and how to use American dollars. It's like everything.
Yeah.
I got through my education, and I look back and I see a lot of people are still not quite there in terms of English language or jobs or career-wise. So therefore, I created this thing for the people that can work here with their own language, make the money, and send their kids to school, so that our next generation will no longer facing hardship. And this is going to be our last country, America.
Each generation has a mission. If Dua's generation was meant to survive and rebuild, then for Yia, the mission must be to maintain, carrying forth Hmong traditions into the future. You can see this mission in action at his soon-to-be restaurant where we are right now.
With a piece in my hand and bloodshot eyes.
There's fourth element has to be on the table to be considered Hmong food. You have your rice, you have your protein, you have your vegetable, and then you have your kotsal, which is your hot sauce.
Yia VANG honors Hmong cooking with a dining concept called the VINAI Feast, named after the refugee camp where he was born.
We're just taking the spine bone back off.
The VINAI Feast is a communal gathering that represents bountifulness, a shared feast of foods bursting with flavor. All this is cooked over an open flame. First, the veggies hit the grill: cabbage, long beans, yu choy, mushrooms, and radicchio.
We have our mushrooms in the back. We have our radicchio here. This radicchio looks like a small red cabbage.
Next, the protein: shrimpies, seasoned with salt, pepper, and hill tribe seasoning, a mix of smoked paprika, garlic, and cumin.
Here's the chicken. What I always do is I just put that flesh side down first. The most important thing when you're cooking with fire is you want to cook with ember, and you don't want to really cook with the flame. For me, that's how my father taught me how to cook. So the next thing we have is tri-tip steaks. Just a little salt on it. We're gonna put it on the back here. Okay, so the next thing is we have this pork tenderloin. We call it hill tribe seasoning, so it's like a smoked paprika garlic seasoning.
Finally, chicken hearts, marinated in soy sauce, then sauteed in a cast iron skillet.
When it comes to Hmong food, it's about simplicity. It's about what can I do with the resources that I have around me, and how do I make something out of that? You know, you don't have to plug this in. It doesn't have a big hopper where you're putting pellets in or anything. It's just literally wood. Knowing how to control that wood and the flavor, man. Like the way that the fat falls off the meat that hits the fire, and then the smoke and the ember, like that's all part of the flavor. As we're setting this up, what I really want to do is I want to be intentional and think about how the way that people eat. So we don't want to just spread all the food around. We actually want to create clumps of the food. So notice how there's clumps of chickens here, clumps of steaks over here, clumps of the pork here. So it's a way of us challenging the way that people eat. If you want the chicken, you're going to actually have to communicate with somebody across the side to get you some. So what it does is it causes people to actually have a conversation. That's why we named this the VINAI Feast, which is having things together is more important than having whatever the things are.
Time to laugh, go.
Chef Yia,
Yeah.
please explain to me how this works.
I always just say, just draw your plate right here. This is your spot.
Okay, everyone, please.
Yeah. Just
Enjoy.
everyone just dig in.
What's this one? Is this beef?
That's the pork.
Hold on, this pork's a little pink on the inside.
It's fine.
The way I grow up, it's like you eat pork at 165.
And what did it taste like?
It's really dry.
It tastes like sandpaper, right? Yeah. We cook it a little under, so it's like a medium-ish. After you're done cooking, you let it rest in that residual heat.
Oh, that's delicious.
Yeah.
And it's so soft.
Yeah.
And I usually hate tenderloin because
Yeah, 'cause
I'm
it's
sorry,
dry.
people don't know how to cook it. And I'm like, why do they put the word tender in front of loin? They
Yeah.
should just call it like
Dry loin.
dry loin.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then that's the tri-tip.
I like this huge serving, absolutely massive.
Yep. Try it with the hot sauce, dude. The acid from there cuts through the fattiness, and you got the heat on the peppers, and then, you know, the cilantro. It's very herbaceous.
It's tender. It's kind of sweet too. This is so satisfying.
Coming through the gate.
What do you do at this point usually?
Yeah.
You just sort of put it in?
Yeah, you do whatever you need to do. You know? Yeah.
Chicken heart. They're so delicious. The way my mom used to cook it, it'd be a little bit tough.
165 degrees. Sorry, Mom.
She doesn't watch my show. My parents don't support me, don't worry.
Stop.
Oh,
The radicchio, right? That hint of bitterness.
I really appreciate the bitterness in the cooking I've had today because it's not over the top. So like when I went to Thailand and I had bile on lab, it was like animal bile and it was just so bitter. Like
Yeah.
I would shudder. I could feel it in my bones. But here, it's a bitterness where it's like, oh, okay, this is multi-dimensional, but not all in one direction.
Not over till I say so.
This is like the best version of this type of meal I've ever had. Kind of like communal meal on a leaf. There's so much flavor. There's flavors that go throughout because of the sauces that bind everything together. And then everything also has a little bit of its own flavor too. Oh, that's so good. This is so satisfying. You're opening a restaurant, a brick and mortar here. It's behind us.
Yep.
And who are you trying to appeal to? Are you trying to appeal strictly to the Hmong community or just to the general, Minnesota community?
I'm not trying to appeal to anybody. I tell people that this restaurant is a love letter to my mom and dad.
So you're not going to water down anything. Everything that people try there will be like this. If it's bitter, it's bitter.
Yeah,
If it's spicy,
you
it's
have
spicy.
to take it like it is. When my father came to this country, he didn't have anything under his name, but he had something he passed down to his children, and it was this recipe. I firmly believe that to change that is to kind of spit on his legacy. So like we can have that recipe and we can pass that down to the next generation. So I don't mind if some other young Hmong chef or Hmong cook comes through and says, hey, I really love what our people have done. I want to put my own spin on it. As long as you can verbally communicate to me why you're doing that and it's not part of a trend, I'm right behind you.
When I think Hmong people, I think survivors. And when I was in northern Vietnam, obviously the history, there's conflict in southern China, and there's a huge migration of Hmong people who spread across Vietnam, Laos, Thailand, some in Myanmar. And you can see these people moved to where nobody would with them anymore.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so they took mountains, mountains that most people would think were completely unfarmable.
Absolutely.
And they carved rice paddies into the mountains using buffalo, using their bare hands, whatever simple tools they had available back then. And to me, that is the epitome of kind of resourcefulness and being a survivor. And so I love that you understand and you have that spirit handed to you from your parents, and you're like, yeah, I'm not willing to dilute that or do a fusion concept of that. And so what people get is what they get. This is Hmong food.
I think as Hmong people, we always wonder, like, what is Hmong food? What is Hmong food? Because it's kind of like this weird cousin of every other Southeast Asian food.
Right.
And then I would really say that Hmong food isn't a type of food, it's a philosophy of food, it's a way of food. You come in mom's house, the moment you step in to the moment you leave, it's been part of Hmong food. And when you left, she gave you food to go. I would love to one day see that they'll look at a list of what do we want to eat tonight? Do we eat, Chinese food, Mexican food, Italian food? I would love to be able to see Hmong food as part of that normal conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. Best Ever Food Review Show is a small team of independent creators, and everything we do here works because of you guys. Click the link in our description to join our Patreon and receive exclusive benefits. A piece. I've been in Asia long enough, like this is also my comfort food now.
This is what a Hot Pocket wants to be, but can't. If you really think about it, right?
You're generous to put them even in the same world.
Yeah. Unwrap it like a Christmas present.
Ooh. What did Hmong Santa bring this year?
Yeah. And that lime will really cut through the acid and then just toss it up.
Isn't the lime acid in itself?
I'm sorry. The acid cuts through the fattiness and it cuts through like the richness of the coconut.
I almost just went with that, but I was like, hold on. I think I know that lime is acid.
English is my second language, dude. So,
Fair enough. Yeah, but from like age 4.
Yeah. Did you do the fermented mustard greens?
Yeah, it's like a Hmong pickle.
More like a thing of sauerkraut.
It's like a Hmong sauerkraut. Editor, replace that dumb statement I said about the pickle. That was ignorant.
Your kimchi, yeah.
It's like a Hmong kimchi. Editor, go back again and replace the, thank you. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. A huge thank you to my guy, Chef Ia.
Thanks for coming by.
Awkward handshake.
Oh. Thanks, man. It's the fish. It's the flounder fish. You can follow us on Instagram at VINAI MN. That's our new restaurant that we're building out.
Boom, guys, that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you next time. Peace.
Peace.
Good. I mean, do you feel like, did you go too overboard with the piece? Was it too much?
I felt like
that was comfortable?
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
Okay,
Is it beer time? Do we get beers now?
Whiskey, dude.
Whiskey. I like that. Is it Hmong whiskey?
No, it's Minnesota whiskey.
I like that too.